Okay, as you guys are coming on, I want to do something fun. So we're going to talk about subcontractors tonight, and I want to know, like, where are you at with that, the whole thought of subcontractors? Are you thinking, like, no way, I would never ever hire a subcontractor? Are you, maybe you're interested in hearing more? And then I'm going to ask you again at the end, because I'm interested to see if your thoughts change after we talk about subcontractors. So tell me, are you like, not a chance, never? Would you, let's see, yes, you want to hire subcontractors, but you have no idea how? Or are you like, I have no idea. What are you talking about? What's a subcontractor? Tell me all how you feel. Dawn says she totally would. Yay. Yes, Jen, scared I can't find my twin who would do a great job. We're going to talk about that. When you get more clients, don't be afraid to wait until you get more clients. We're going to talk about that too. Yes, Lainey, I know, you're ready. Yeah, Melissa, you don't know enough yet to say yes or no. So that's what we're going to talk about tonight. I'm so excited to talk to you about how I've grown my business with subcontractors and how you can do that too. So work with subcontractors in my current job, and it's a nightmare. Okay, so Jennifer, I'd love to hear what makes it a nightmare, and maybe there's some things that are different with being an organizer. So I'll tell you my story a little bit when we first get started. Hi guys. Yeah, subcontract your husband. Yes, you don't always have to subcontract other organizers. You could subcontract things like a handyman or somebody to install things for you, all of that stuff. So yes, we're gonna talk about all that. So first, I'm Danielle. If we haven't chat yet, I can't wait to talk to you and tell you about how I have grown my business and how you can too. So I started my organizing business about 2 years ago. Actually, almost exactly, April of 2015. So I was teaching as a kindergarten teacher, and I decided I didn't want to do my full-time job anymore. Like most of you are saying the same thing. You're in a full-time job that you don't love. I did love teaching, but I didn't love the time commitment that I had at this particular job. So I wanted to do something with a little bit more flexibility, and fell into organizing. So some of you, I know a lot of you have asked, like, what do I do when I'm first starting? How do I go from transitioning from working full-time and then starting my own business? So what I did at the beginning was I got everything ready. So at the time, Jen's course was not around, but I took another course on how to be an organizer, which I will say, and I'll talk about this more at the end, but oh, hi, Emily. Yes, I have, you're on my to-do list to email tomorrow, so can't wait to chat with you. So anyways, I wanted to start my business, and I definitely think that investing in some kind of course to help you get started, for me, was 100% beneficial. I wish Jen's course would have been around at the time, because I feel like I would have gotten to where I am now much faster. But so I took the course, and I got started. And what I did was I built my website and I did everything, but I didn't go live with anything until I was done with my teaching job, because I knew I was quitting no matter what. So in June, I launched my business, and then in July, I got my first client. So, and I, again, 100% stress the importance of investing in some type of course, investing in your business, because it really will take you a long way. So I got my first client in July, and my whole goal was just to have kind of a side business. I was going to be a stay-at-home mom. I wasn't really wanting a full-time business, although I would love that, but that wasn't my goal at the time. So I started organizing. Clients would come in here and there, finding me through my website. I did a little bit of paid advertising at the beginning, and then started to pick up a little bit. Actually, had other organizers reach out to me that were in my area that needed my help, and so they actually hired me as a subcontractor. So it was their clients. They called me and said, I have some clients, I'm busy. There was one organizer who had 2 different cities that she was working in. Hello, Vicky. And so she needed some help. When she wasn't in Cincinnati, she was in New York. She needed some help with her clients in Cincinnati, so I would go and help. So then that was my first experience with subcontractors. I was actually the subcontractor for another organizer. And I did that every once in a while. It wasn't a ton, but once a month maybe. And I helped her out. I also worked with a relocation company. It's actually a national company, but they have organizers all over the country, and they do relocations for big companies. And we have a lot of large companies in Cincinnati, so that was bringing in some work for me as well. But it wasn't full time. So as I kept working and advertising and looking for new clients, things started to come in, and then I just decided that I wanted to take on some bigger jobs, but I knew I wasn't ready to do it because I didn't have any help. I had actually had a couple clients contact me, and they wanted like their whole house organized. It was a very large job, and they wanted it done quickly. And I had to say no because I didn't have any help. So instead I said, you know what, I'm just going to look into the subcontractor thing. I had a little bit of experience with it. I had seen a subcontractor contract before because I had worked as a subcontractor for another organizer. So I started looking into it, and I know it's overwhelming. At first I was there, I had no idea what a subcontractor even was. I was not in the corporate world before this or anything, so I had no idea what I was getting into, but I started researching, and I found out that it's really not that hard, and it's actually, for me, it was more beneficial and much easier than trying to find an employee, because with subcontractors, I didn't have to worry about all the things like insurance or, guaranteeing them a certain number of hours per week. I could just use them as needed. So the way I did it was I actually had two friends that were also teachers and were really into organizing, and I thought, okay, I'm just gonna take them on a job with me and see how it goes. And that's how I started, and I just started hiring these subcontractors. Tammy, yes, that is part of what we're going to talk about tonight. Jen and I have come up with a guide on how to hire subcontractors, and that will be part of it, the contract. So the contract that I use and what that looks like, and you can kind of tweak it and make it your own. But we will get into more about the contract and all that in a little bit. So then I had these two subcontractors. I could take on these big jobs. I was doing whole home jobs with these other two subcontractors, and we sold a package. The package ranged from $3,000 to $5,000, and we would get it done in 1 week. So $3,000 to $5,000 in 1 week, and that was a ton of profit for me. And for me, I saw the benefit of having these other two subcontractors and still making this, big profit in 1 week, and still taking on other smaller jobs. But it was amazing that could happen. I mean, I had no idea. So of course, then I just wanted to continue that, because who doesn't want to do, one job in a week or a whole week of a job and get $3,000 to $5,000? So that was really exciting, and that for me was the turning point. And since then, I mean, I've had probably 10 subcontractors over the course of the past year. Some help me just occasionally. Some are only available on nights and weekends. Some are available during the week. I have one that's now pretty much full-time helping me. So yeah, that's my journey. That's where I'm at now. That's why I hired subcontractors to help me get those big jobs. Tammy, you're so sweet. You wouldn't be like me when you grow up. That's so funny. Yes. Okay, Emily says, in a perfect world, as this group gets bigger, we could totally subcontract each other. Yes, that would be amazing. So we'll talk about different ways you can use subcontractors, and I really go into more depth in the guide about different ways you could use subcontractors. But like people have said before, it's not just hiring other organizers. You might need to use to subcontract someone to install things for you. I work a lot with a container store, and when I do that and I need somebody to install it, sometimes I do it myself. On the bigger jobs, I contract it out. I've had like garage projects where they wanted the floor done, all of that, I was able to subcontract out. And so with that, your subcontractor contract for those types of jobs is going to look a little bit different than your organizing contract. But you can also subcontract that. Another thing you can subcontract, things you might not think about now, but your social media. I'm working with somebody right now on getting my social media in place. And then I have one of my organizers also working as kind of a personal assistant and doing all of my social media too. So I'm getting that ready so that it can be launched in June, because right now I just don't have the time to worry about that stuff, and I'd rather be working with clients. So I'm able to subcontract that stuff out, and it still looks like it's me. It still is building my brand and focusing on my branding and my marketing, and I don't have to do the work. I can focus on working with clients. So, okay, let me look at these questions. So Sarah says, do you pay all of your subcontractors the same or vary their rate based on their experience? So no, I do not pay them all the same. And in the guide, I kind of go through how to figure out how to price that. A lot of it kind of depends on how your pricing looks. At the beginning, I was doing more of an hourly rate, and then I was package pricing those whole home jobs. Now I'm doing all package pricing, thanks to Jen, and so I changed it a little bit on that, but really, yeah, it's not the same for every subcontractor. It's different. How much do you pay a subcontractor percentage-wise per hour? Yes. So, yep, that is in the guide as well. How do you price their fees? Yes, lots of questions about pricing. How much do you pay your assistant? So my assistant is actually one of my organizers. So her rate is different. For what I do is I give her like a set number of hours per month to do the social media, and that is at a different rate than the organizing. So that's how I do that. Yeah, keep bringing the questions. I want to hear what your hesitations are. So for me, the biggest thing about hiring subcontractors was I was able to grow my business. And it's full time now. I mean, I have, like I said, another organizer that she's basically full time, but she's not guaranteed any number of hours per week because she's a subcontractor. But this week we both were booked all week. And then next week, I'm so excited because this will be the first time that I'm actually taking a week-long vacation, and I am still getting paid because I have organizers here working and making me money. So that is really exciting. So that's, amazing. And I've also been able to grow my business and my profit with the subcontractors because we can do 2 jobs at once. Today there were Jen Boss, yes. So today I did a job with another organizer. So there were 2 of us. We were able to get the job done a lot faster, and it's double the rate basically. So that's exciting. Not only can you get jobs done faster, if there's 2 of you there, you can, I have one organizer that she does jobs on her own. She does the consultation, she does the job, and then I take in some of the profit. So, and that's based on the percentage and everything that's outlined in our contract. So, it's so exciting. I never would have in a million years thought that I would have subcontractors and have to deal with all this stuff, but I'm telling you, you can do it. Okay, I'm gonna look at some questions. Okay, what's the hourly rate? I need an assistant now. It really depends. I would check with, look at your city. There's a lot of virtual assistants too. That could help. They do a lot of things. I would, figure out, I think the best way to figure out what you need is to write down what you need, from that person. What do you need them to do? And then find somebody that does those things and just do some research and figure out how much it costs. But definitely try virtual assistants. I haven't done that yet because I have someone to help me, but that would have been my next step. How do you track the hours your subcontractors work? Great question, Tammy. So I have an Excel sheet. I actually use it like Google spreadsheets, but I track everything in there, and I am giving that to you in the guide. So you will have that ready to go if you get the guide. Okay, where do you find your subcontractors other than friends? Good question. So again, answer it in the guide, go into a lot of depth of where to find those subcontractors. But I would say not to go into too much detail on that because it is in the guide, but I think the biggest thing is finding somebody that fits your brand. So when you are clear on your brand and your marketing, you'll attract those people. The people that, just like your clients, right? Your clients come to your website and they see you, they see your branding, and they're like, I want to work with this person, and not, the other organizers' websites that they go to. They find something about you that they like, and that's why they hire you. So it's the same thing's going to happen when you have the branding and your marketing and everything set up, like the way Jen describes in the masterclass. It's so important to have your branding and to know exactly what you want to portray to your clients. And when you do that, you're also attracting the right subcontractors. And you can kind of, go through basically an interview process with them and figure out if they're the right fit for your brand. All right, some more questions. How did you find other organizers? Yeah, we just talked about that. I don't know how you find these people, virtual assistants, etc. Goodness. Lots of Facebook groups for that, Emily. And I'm sure other people in the group might have an answer for where to find virtual assistants. I've never hired one, but I know there's a lot out there. Alicia says, I have someone who contacted me about wanting to shadow me. Do you think that's a good start to subcontracting? Maybe helping her learn the ropes and then hiring her. Yes. Let me see your comment. Okay. This is all relative anyway, since I don't have a second client yet. Okay. So a couple things. I do think that can work, the shadowing. For me, one of the first questions I ask is, do you want to start your own organizing business? Because if they do, for me personally, it's probably not somebody that I want to shadow me. If they don't want to start their own organizing business, they just love to organize, they want to shadow you, go for it. Take advantage of it. Let's see. Hey guys, first time on. Hi Jenny. Okay, Sarah, what percentage do your subcontractors get? Or yes, it is in the guide. And I think it really depends, like I said before, on their experience and what they're doing for you. I kind of go through in the guide like 3 different ways that you would use a subcontractor. But basically, there's going to be a difference between the subcontractor that is doing the consultation and the whole job on her own, and she doesn't need any of your guidance, and then a subcontractor who's working alongside you as more of an organizing assistant. So that's kind of how all of my organizers started more as an organizing assistant and kind of have gone up, and I have one in particular that now does the whole consultation and the organizing all on her own. And then, so yeah, it depends on what you're paying them. But yes, that's in the guide, and more details on all of how you would use those 3 different types of organizers and how they would kind of go up and then eventually be somebody who would work for you and do the consultations and everything. Do you ask your clients for feedback on how your subcontractors perform, or how do you check the quality of their work? Okay. Yes. So I don't ask my clients for their feedback. I mean, I do at the end when I ask for a testimonial, but I don't check in with the client and say, how's so-and-so doing? I think it's great to kind of trust them. I mean, if a client's going to complain, they're going to come to you and you'll be able to fix that situation. I've not had a client complain about a subcontractor before, but I think a lot of that is just all of my organizers have started as more of an organizing assistant and have worked with me one-on-one, and then have gone to that where they're working with the client by themselves. So I knew how they were working. I didn't really feel like I needed to check in on them. Also, there's a lot of information out there on the difference between a subcontractor and employee, and there's a lot of legal mumbo jumbo about it too, and that I go through in fine detail in the guide because it's really important. So the difference between a subcontractor and an employee is kind of a fine line, and you have to figure out and make sure you're not crossing it, because if they're an employee, then there are certain things you have to follow. So yeah, I hope that makes sense. But I go through that in a lot more detail in the guide and really outline every single point of how you should be doing this to make sure you're not using them as an employee when they're, or using them as a subcontractor when they're really an employee. Okay. Do you ask your client? Oh yeah, I already asked that. Okay. Jen says that deserves repeating regarding branding, attracting the right subs. Yes. I mean, it is so true. I've had one person who initially contacted me to kind of shadow me, and I used her twice actually, for a job, so 2 sessions, and I just decided she wasn't a right fit. So there are going to be people that aren't the right fit, but I really, really, really think that if you have the right branding, those are the people that are going to want to work for you, right? Because they're attracted to what you're doing. So yes. Okay, Tammy, if you type in virtual assistant online, yes, yep. Okay, Marcy says, that was a lot of likes, Jen. Emily, I missed the beginning. Are you selling the guide and or is it part of Jen's new resource library? Okay, yes. I jumped ahead of myself, but yes, we are selling the guide. I will give you all the information on how to get the guide at the end and the price of that as well. Totally new and separate. Thanks, Jen. Okay. Definitely purchasing the guide. Yay! Thanks for the information. It is invaluable. I mean, it seriously is. Like I said, making an investment in your business is so, so, so important. Like the masterclass, like the course that I took, it's just so important. And I mean, think about it. If I wouldn't have done this with subcontractors, I would still be, I would be the only one working, and I wouldn't have that potential for income that I have right now. Do you give your subcontractors tax forms? Yep, Sandy, yes. There are forms that are involved in having a subcontractor. Again, it's all in the guide, but basically they fill out one form at the beginning when I hire them as a subcontractor, and then they get a tax form at the end of the year, which is why I have that Excel sheet that tracks all of their time, and I use that to then figure out taxes at the end of the year. So it makes it really simple. Sounds like it needs to be a masterclass. Yeah. So yes, so this guide is a separate thing from the masterclass, and I'll tell you why, Tammy, because the thing is this, I go into more detail about this in the guide, but Jen and I were talking about this, and so I'll just throw it out there. Being an organizer and having your own business is not for everyone. Like those people that want to shadow you or love organizing and find your website and they want to work for you, but they don't want to have their own business. So they could be a subcontractor for you, and that, that could be a reason that you may want the guide. So we talk about that too. You don't always have to have your own business to be a subcontractor. You could still be an organizer and not have your own business. Like I was working for the other organizer at the beginning of my business, and I was subcontracting for her. And you can also, if you don't want to go through the hassle of trying to train someone and make sure they're doing exactly what you want, you could find somebody who's already an organizer in your city and you could subcontract them. So like Lainey's super busy right now. If she decides she doesn't have time to train an organizer, she could contact another organizer and say, hey, I have tons of clients that want to work with me, but I just can't handle it right now. Would you like to work with them? Here's the price. Here's what I'll pay you. Here's the subcontractor guide. And they can work for her as a subcontractor. So it doesn't always have to be that you're training somebody. So that's another way you could do it. Okay, let's go back here. Gabrielle, do you have liability insurance? Yes, I do. Yes. Natalie, do you use an accountant to help with subcontractor tax stuff? So I have an accountant that does like my final taxes, but I just print everything out and hand it to her. So the subcontractor stuff is really actually very, very, very simple. I mean, it's literally, you give them a form to fill out because you need their social security number and all that. And I have links to that form in the guide. And then you keep track of their hours. They're going to keep track of their hours too. And then at the end of the year, you just fill out another simple form. You can request them from the IRS. They mail them to your house. You fill it out. It's like a couple quick questions, how much they made, all their information, and that's it. So it's actually way, way, way easier than you would even think. I think you said you hire people who actually don't want to start their own business. Yes. Is there much worry about people taking your business? No. So I don't know. I kind of have a different outlook on this. I do ask people if they are interested in starting their own business, because if I know they're starting their own business, then I'm not gonna like waste my time training them for them to just leave, because I want people who are with me long term, and I want some subcontractors who are invested in my business, and so I do ask them that, but I'm not really worried about it. I mean, honestly, there's tons of other organizers in my city, and I just feel like, again, my branding is 100% different than any other organizer in my city. And Jen can attest to this, because when she did my competitor analysis, she was like, you're the only one doing this. So yes, I mean, your branding is going to set you apart, and if they want to start their own business, even if they are trying to be like you, they're not you. So there's plenty of work out there for everyone. If somebody goes and starts their own business, then, go ahead. I mean, it's a lot of work. And exactly, Lainey, if someone wants to steal it, good luck, girlfriend. It ain't easy. So true. And it's taken me 2 years to get to this point. It's not like I just started my business and then all of a sudden I was, bringing in tons of income. So it's not that way. And it's not that way every month still. But it definitely, Subcontractor is definitely the reason why I am where I am. So, yes, Jen says, Lainey, busy AF. Yes. Yes. Okay. So let me go back a little bit. So I want to tell you about, when I was at the very beginning of my business, I was contacted by another organizer who is in Ohio, but she's about an hour and a half away. And she works with the relocation company that I've done some subcontracting for. And she is very successful. And she has her own business, 6-figure organizing business. She recently added a closet company. Jen, I'm going to get to that in just a second. I haven't said it yet. Okay, so she also just started a closet company where she does custom closets. Like, she's doing great. And I sat down with her about a month ago and was just picking her brain about, what does she think you need to do to be successful at organizing and to have that 6-figure business? And she said, number one, first thing, hire subcontractors and hire them early. Hire them before you need them. Because what happens, like me, when I got those first 2 calls and I had to turn them down because I didn't have anybody. But when you have a subcontractor, you don't have to guarantee them any hours. You can call them right now. It doesn't matter if you don't have your second job yet, your second client yet. You can call them right now and say, hey, I would love to, have your name, have your information. Let's call, let's chat, let's have a coffee date. I don't know how many hours I can guarantee you. It's a subcontractor position. Go through all of that stuff and then keep their phone number and get 2 people, get 3 people. It doesn't matter, because what if you call number 1 and they're busy? What if you call number 2 and they're busy? You're going to need number 3. So hire them and hire them early. And if I would have known that, I would have done it sooner. So you don't even have to have your second client. You don't even have to have your first client. Just start meeting with people and getting that, because the quicker you can get into that mindset that you can do this, the faster you're going to grow your business. Yes. Okay. So Jen said, how much money did you make last month, Danielle? So last month I had a 5-figure month, and that is like insane to me. It's crazy. It's like the Babysitter's Club. Yes, it exactly is. Yeah, so a 5-figure month. And the only reason I could do that is because I had subcontractors. There's no way, even if you try and figure it out, let's say you're charging $75 an hour, there is no way you could make over $10,000 in a month unless you were working yourself like crazy. And we all know this is a very, very, very physical job, and you just can't. So if you want that income potential, then you're going to have subcontractors. You're going to have other people under you taking on those jobs and making you money too. So it was very exciting. I, again, never would have thought when I started my business 2 years ago, it was, oh, this will just be a side hustle. It'll be something I can do, when I can get a babysitter, because I was supposed to be a stay-at-home mom, all of that. And now I work full-time, but I still have the flexibility to go to my son's preschool graduation on Friday. Like, I still have that flexibility, so it's dream job. Very exciting. That's gross, right? Yes, Natalie. Yep. So yeah, the 5 figures was before I paid out to my subcontractors. However, because of, their rates, still my profit was much higher than any other month, or even what it could be potentially when it's just me working. So, yes. Do you have a specialty? Not really, not a specific specialty. I mean, I think my branding and marketing is all towards the busy mom. I work with tons of moms, mostly women. I do work with men too. I know some people don't, but I do. But nothing specific. I do always say, like, my website and everything says I create function with style. So I like the emphasis on having that style piece and not just the function. Yes. Let's see. How old are your kids? I want to be full-time organizer when my kids start school. Yeah. So my kids are 3 and 5. And I always said when I first started this, and I had talked to other organizers, like the one that I just was talking about, and some other ones that are successful in the business, and they all said, it takes 3 years. There's no way you'll be full-time before 3 years. There's no way you can do it. And it took them 3, and they said maybe even 5. 3 is quick. So I planned, when I first started my business 2 years ago, to be full-time by the time my kids were in school. I didn't plan to be full-time now. It just kind of happened. But that's the other good thing about subcontractors is I don't have to work every day. I can send them on jobs. And that's another reason I have the flexibility, because I don't have to turn clients down. I can still say yes to the clients, and I can still get them in fast. I'm not saying it's going to be 2 months before I can work with you because I have somebody else. And a lot of you have the fear. I'm going to go through 2 things. One, a lot of people have the fear of, I want them to be just like me, or I can't let go of the control. So first I'm going to say, sorry, but you have to let go of the control if you want the income potential. It's up to you. Maybe you don't want the income potential, and that's totally fine. You don't have to. But if you want this to be a full-time business, and you want to see those 5-figure months, and you want to have a 6-figure business, then you have to have subcontractors. You just have to. And so you kind of have to let go of some of that control. The other thing I will say is that it's kind of nice to have somebody who's not just like you, because, like, I forget who it was, but just before, somebody asked about if you have a specialty. Well, guess what? Let's say I don't do, which I don't, photo organizing, but I find another organizer who specializes, or a subcontractor who specializes in photo organizing, well, guess what? Now I can offer that service, and I don't have to tell clients no. And that's another service I just added to my business. So sometimes it's good to have somebody who's not just like you, because they can bring different talents, different specialties to your business. Let's see. Do people ever just want to work with you, though? Do you charge more now as lead organizer? So, not yet. I haven't had anyone specifically say they want to work just with me, except for past clients that know that I have other organizers now. Obviously, I continue to work with them. But I haven't had anybody ask specifically for me. And I think that's because I haven't really given that as an option. I don't have a separate price for me as a lead organizer, because right now I have the same rate for me and my other lead organizer. Okay, so I missed the beginning. I was 15 minutes late. Sorry you mentioned this, but have you ever had liability issues with your subs, and how did you handle it? I have not. I will say that in my contract, I do require them to have liability insurance. Yes. To follow up on Jen's question, do you do the consult and send subs to do the work? Do you ever get pushback that they want to work with you? So, good question. I do not get pushback. I've done it 2 ways. And it kind of, again, depends on where the subcontractor is at in the process. So for me, I don't want to get into too many details because I do really go into this in the guide, but for me, I have always, now that I'm sending other organizers on jobs by themselves, they are doing the consultation, or she is doing the consultation. So the only time they talk to me is when we make that initial contact, and then I say such and such is going to be out for the consultation, and then they go from there. So they don't really get a chance to work with me. And as Jen said before, that is definitely something that I'm going to do, is put, increase the rate for working with me rather than working with one of my subcontractors. So it kind of gives them the opportunity to choose. But that would be something that's coming. I haven't done that yet. Okay, when you request a testimonial from a client who worked with one of your subcontractors, does that client use your subcontractor's name in their testimonial? Do you ever see an issue with this in the future? So no, they haven't, but you could use like your business name instead of their name. Like I know you've probably seen in testimonials before, you can say like, I had a great time working with, and then in parentheses, Simplify and Style. So you're subbing what they said. If they do use the name of the subcontractor, I probably would do that. I probably wouldn't put my subcontractor's name. I don't have any of my subcontractors like on my about page or anything. Like at one point I did, and then, well, this kind of goes back, but the two subcontractors that I hired originally both got pregnant 2 weeks from each other. And so then I had no subcontractors. So I was out of luck. And then I wasn't able to hire friends. That was it. So I did have to go through the process of hiring other subcontractors. And that's when I learned, don't put all your eggs in one basket. Don't just have one, don't just have two subcontractors. Have a bunch, because what happens when they both get pregnant at the same time and then can't do the jobs anymore? So I took their pictures and their about sections off my website because I didn't want to be constantly changing that. And now it's just about me, but all of the verbiage on my website says we, our team, and it uses that wording to portray that I have a team and it may not be me every time. Natalie, would you ever switch them to employees? I don't know the answer to that question. The other organizer that I was talking about before that has a 6-figure business and has been very successful, she has a ton of subcontractors, and I asked her that same question, and she said she doesn't feel the need to. She uses them all as subcontractors. I think it's kind of up to you. At some point I might, but depends on how my business grows, but I do not have an answer to that question yet. When you think back to when you were just starting your business, what did you project your startup fees to be, and were they accurate? Also, I can't say it all. Did you ever think of starting a biz with a partner, or always knew you wanted to fly by the solo at the start? Okay. Good question. So I actually haven't talked about this before. So Jen, I don't think Jen even knows this, but, so startup fees, let's answer that first. Startup fees, I invested in a course, which was similarly priced to what Jen's course is. And I 100% think that was a good investment. Like I've said before, I'm now part of the masterclass. So, I have had the opportunity to kind of compare those courses. And I feel like if I would have started with Jen's course, I would have gotten to where I am now much sooner, because the other course was a lot of technical stuff, whereas Jen's focuses more on the things that I didn't know how to do, like the marketing and things like that. So I do think I would have grown faster if I did that at the beginning. It wasn't available. And then also, but I do think that was a big, really important startup fee. And I would do whatever it would take to make sure that I could do that stuff for myself again. And other than that, there weren't a lot of startup fees. I didn't get insurance right away. I don't know if that was the best decision or not, but I didn't, and now I do, but I didn't at the beginning. Okay. Oops. What do you mean hire a subcontractor? You mean have them ready to go, right? Yeah. Oops. I just read the questions up. Yes. So yeah, have them ready to go, meet with them, do your, have coffee, talk to them about their business. And in the guide, I go through like ways to figure out if they're the right person for your business, and some questions you can ask them, or what to look for, those kinds of things. So yeah, have them ready to go, so that you can just call them and say, hey, I have this job and I need your help because I want to make $5,000. Don't tell them that. Okay, Emily, I know from working closely with an HR department in my current job, with today's laws, having employees is a nightmare. Yeah, and I mean, you have to be really careful about the way you do things with subcontractors and employees, which that's why we made this guide, is because I think it can be very scary. And Jen and I talked, and, you know, she said, you know, she was even scared to do it because she wasn't sure all of the things that were involved in, and that's why she never hired a subcontractor, even when she was at the point where she needed to. So there's a lot of different regulations on that, and that's why we made the guide, to kind of simplify that. And we literally go through every single part of what to think about when you're hiring a subcontractor, how to make sure they are a subcontractor and not an employee, because there are different regulations for employees that you have to meet. Do you ever use the term subcontractor with your client, like when you're sending an organizer to their house? Or do you ever get asked who the we is when you first join your website? No, no one has ever asked. No one has ever asked. I mean, I wouldn't hide that. I wouldn't say they were an employee. I don't know. I haven't ever had a client that I felt like would really care one way or another about that. But yes. Okay. Jen says there are a lot of rules on how to train them as a sub versus employee, right? Yeah. We need your guide for this. Yes. Do you feel like your subcontractors add a lot of drama or complications to your business? My husband is a chiropractor and his employees cause a lot of stress. This makes me a little nervous to hire anyone. Okay. And Jen says yes. If she had this 2 years ago, totally different story in her business. Yeah, Emily, you could call them partner organizers. I don't think you need to use the word subcontractor at all. At the beginning, I called them my organizing assistants, and now I just say I have other organizers that work with me. I don't use employee or subcontractor. I don't think you really need to. Okay, so let's go back to Jen. She said a lot of rules on how to train them versus sub versus employee. Yes, so that's part of the one of the little guidelines that the IRS uses to determine whether somebody is a subcontractor or an employee, is how they are trained. So you do have to be careful. I'm just checking the time, make sure I'm not going over. So yeah, you do have to make sure that you're training them in the right way. Technically, you can't train them to do exactly what you say and exactly the way you want it, because then they could be considered an employee. Like you start a job, they give you an employee handbook, they say this is how you do it and this is the only way to do it. That's more like an employee. So in order to have them as a subcontractor, you can't necessarily train them. There are ways around that. I didn't say this before, but I also subcontract for the Container Store with their contained home organizers. And, they do training for their organizers, not on how to be an organizer, but on how their systems and all of that. So you can train them on some things. You just can't say, go like, this is how you do it. This is the only way. Yeah. So, okay. April's question. Do you feel like your subcontractors add a lot of drama or complications? No, I don't. I mean, I've honestly have the right people, and the thing is they're a subcontractor, they're not an employee. So guess what, the minute they start causing drama or complications, I can just not give them any more jobs. I don't have to give them a reason, I don't have to fire them, I don't have to do anything. I can just say, I don't have a job for you right now. So if they do cause drama, you just get rid of them, you just don't use them anymore. And that's the great thing about having a subcontractor, is you're not in any, there's no legal thing saying that you can't fire them or whatever. So, so no, I haven't had any drama or complications. At the beginning, I had a lot of like text messages and things like that, questions about jobs and how to do things, but they were more like, back-end questions because they were with me on the job. So if they had any questions, they would just ask me on the job. Okay. Partner organizers. Okay, when it comes to taxes, do you have to pay taxes on the full amount you've charged the client, or just cut your subcontractor? Yes. So no, you only pay taxes on your part, because you're keeping track of your subcontractor hours and everything that you've paid out to them. So that is like a deduction on your taxes. So you're deducting your subcontractors, what you pay them the whole year at the end of the year. So yes. Lainey, drama equals holla. Yeah. See ya. I mean, you don't have to deal with the drama because you just don't hire them again. And honestly, you don't even have to say like, I didn't like your drama. You can just say, I don't have any jobs for you right now. And that's it. Yes, subcontract equals an expense. Exactly. Yep. So it's just like any other expense. You write it off, and you're not paying taxes on that. They are responsible for paying their own taxes on what they've made. So, and I tell my subcontractors, like, because I don't reimburse them for things like I don't know, if they need a tape measure or something, like that's part of their expense. And that's another difference between a subcontractor and employee. If you're an employee, a lot of times you get the tools for the job, whatever those tools may be, or they reimburse you for those tools. As a subcontractor, I'm not providing them with any tools, and I'm not reimbursing them, but then they can use that as a write-off or expense on their taxes. So they just keep track of that, and they do all that stuff on their own. I'm not responsible for any of that. Yeah, and I think you do have to find the right people that are willing to take this kind of very part-time job, especially if you're not full-time yet, and you just explain that to them. And when you're looking for people, you say, like, this is a subcontractor position. It could be once a month, it could be once every 3 months, it could be every day. I don't know, but this is what it is. And if they don't want to work for you anymore because they're not getting enough hours or whatever it is, then you just find somebody else. Or you already have 5 people that you can call the next person in line. So yes, yeah, okay. Let me look and see if I forgot anything. I think that's it. If anybody has any more questions. Jen, did I miss anything? I'm going to give them the link and everything in a few minutes, but I want to see if anybody had any more questions first. Oops. I'm so excited. I was so nervous at the beginning. You guys make it so easy. Let's see. No more questions? Really? Okay, so I'm going to go back to the question I asked at the beginning. No one answered it, but a couple of people answered it. So at the beginning, I asked, how do you feel about hiring a subcontractor? Are you like not a chance in the world? Are you maybe? How do you feel about it? So did I change your mind at all? I'm curious. Like, are you excited? Do you want to hire a subcontractor? What are you going to do? I want to know. I know Jen's going to hire some subcontractors, right? Lainey is, for sure. Very confident. Good. Beginning. Timid about the idea, not trusting. Yep. Yeah, I mean, it is hard to be trusting, but yeah, I mean, you just take it slow, right? Take it slow and take them on jobs with you, and then see how it can grow. Jen, who wants to be here first? Lainey, yes. Hiring subcontractors. To your I'm missing some questions. You guys are all jumping on there. Jenny, that's so sweet. Jen, you get the best speakers. Yay. Okay, let's see. Do your subcontractors have to be established organizers or have their own business? Still not sure how to know they're qualified. No, I mean, you started your business, right? Like, we all started our businesses, and we weren't qualified, trained in any way. No, I don't think, I mean, obviously I'm looking for somebody who is an organized person and who's responsible and all those things. And they have to have the right qualifications, in my book, and fit my brand, and be somebody that I know, would, help me grow my business. But nope, they don't have to be established organizers. I've never hired somebody who was an established organizer. I've worked for other established organizers, but I've never hired somebody for myself who was an established organizer. I have one person on my team who years ago thought about starting her own staging business, and then as she got older, she just decided, nope, I don't really feel like it. I'd rather just find a job like doing what I love, but not dealing with the business side of it. And she's a great subcontractor for me. When you say subcontractor with the Container Store, do you mean that you are one of? Yep, yes, I do work with the Container Store, and I'm a contained home organizer. Yes. And if you have a Container Store in your area, and you have any questions about contained home, feel free to send me a message afterwards, or chat with me, because I definitely speak highly of it. Definitely have some subcontractors in mind. Ooh, yay, that's exciting. Subcontractors tend to be reliable. How do you ensure they show up and keep you on track? Yeah, I mean, you have to find reliable people first. And I think subcontractors kind of get a bad name, especially, when you think of it in a particular business. I don't know. I've just been lucky enough, I guess, and I found the right people. And again, I cannot stress enough that I think your brand attracts the right people. I haven't had the issue of them not showing up. Yeah, and a lot of, like I said at the beginning, they were all going to the job with me. I have had subcontractors cancel last minute, and so that kind of left me in a bind. So luckily, I had other subcontractors that I could reach out to. But I mean, it's like somebody calling in sick on a job. Like it's going to happen. And so then you just have to see how you want to make that up to your client. If you can't find somebody else, give them an extra session, whatever you want to do. So it's intriguing, but I think a couple steps ahead of where I am right now. Yep. Okay. Yeah. I mean, like I said, if I had to go back, I would hire him even earlier than what I did. It can definitely be intimidating, but I promise you, it's not that bad. Alicia says, yes, definitely wanting to subcontract. Yay. Jen, got any clients? Yeah. And that's like another thing too. There's organizers. If you have somebody that, I think I saw Lainey the other day posted in the group, looking for an organizer in a different city, you can subcontract that person. You can say, hey, I've got this client, whatever, I'll pay you whatever their rate is or whatever it is, and then you keep part of it. You can subcontract it. Let's see. Yes, I'm starting the process. This info, and it's been so incredible. Oh, good. Thank you. Hi, Emily. Okay. Marcy says, had not thought about it before, but it's definitely on my plan. Good. Yay. Exciting. Where did you find your subcontractors? So I did a lot of posting locally. Like I used, I don't know if you're familiar with the Nextdoor app. So it's like an app that you can only post to people in your neighborhood. So I've used that, all kinds of different things. But I really think it's not really about where to find them. Another thing I would say is like, a lot of the time I found moms that have been great subcontractors because they have availability during the day when their kids are in school. They're looking for a little bit of extra income, and I can just say, hey, are you available on this date? And they say yes or no. So that's where I've found my subcontractors, but I really think the most important part is finding the right subcontractors. So no matter where you go to find them, make sure they're the right fit for your brand. Do you help them come up with concepts or solutions, suggest products if they need help? Yes. So like I said, all of my organizers have started more as like organizing assistants. So they've been on jobs with me. And then they've also like gone on the shopping trips with me. So, and really I did that strategically because I'm not training them, but they see what products I love, what go-to solutions I have and systems I set up. We do talk about that stuff, but I'm not saying like this is the way to do it and this is the only way to do it. I go into a little bit more depth of a couple of different things that I do to kind of not test them, but to kind of see what their style is like and how they would organize a space without actually taking them on a job first, just to make sure I kind of get that initial, are they the right fit? And then, they've definitely well, now I only have one organizer that actually picks out products and comes up with concepts and solutions and stuff on her own. That's probably going to change soon because both her and I are booked for the rest of the month. So I might have to add somebody else that does that. But I'm starting with just one person that actually does jobs on her own and comes up with those solutions. So yes, she's definitely still saying, hey, what do you think about this? Or, is this what you would do? So yeah, but I don't ever like check in on them and say, what are you doing? I want to see it before you do it, if that makes sense. So I have enough trust in them because they worked for me as subcontractors for almost a year. So I know their style enough that I feel comfortable with whatever they do. Okay. Did you describe your brand? A little bit. So on my website, I do a lot of, I create function with style. So not just creating function, but also kind of with that style aspect on it. I'm not an interior designer. I don't take on those kinds of projects, but I do want things to look good too, and you know, market towards that kind of higher end client, like Jen describes in the masterclass, and that's, and like I said before, mostly women. I do work with some men, or I've had a couple men contact me to help their wife get organized, so I do that as well, but mostly moms, busy moms, stay-at-home moms, working moms, doesn't matter. But yes, that's kind of my brand. My business includes staging along with organizing. Yep, that's awesome. Yeah, and that's why I brought on this other subcontractor, because I don't have any training or do anything. I know a little bit about staging, but having her on my team makes me feel more comfortable about staging. So in the future, that may be a service that I add and let her do those types of jobs. I'm just not ready to add that yet, because I am a little overwhelmed with clients coming in, which is a good thing. So Natalie says, and the Container Store lets you do your own business too. Yep. So I'm subcontracting for them. So just like if somebody were to subcontract for me, they could have their own business. So yes, I have my own business and work for them. Obviously, their clients are their clients, and I am not taking their clients, which is part of the contract, and that's also in my contract as well. So yes, definitely consider this. Yay, Tammy. What do you do when potential clients want your services, however, they don't want to pay your rates? Honestly, I've never really had anyone contact me and not want to pay my rates, because my rates are on my website, and so it's already clear what it costs to hire me. So I occasionally do like a special or something, but I don't discount my rate just because a client wants a lower rate. One thing you can do is offer kind of like a DIY package, like Jen describes in the masterclass, and I think you can find some of that in her videos too. But you know, doing that DIY package where you're giving them the steps but not doing the work, that's at a lower price point. Lainey, I wish I would have thought of that. I just gave 2 giant jobs away. Yeah. Do you have a best first step for just letting go of control? And not worrying about how things are going on the job. Yeah, so one, I would say start with organizing assistants. If that's something that you're worried about, letting go of the control, have them go on a couple jobs with you first, and then kind of slowly release that control. There are definitely organizers that are still organizing assistants, and I don't know if they will ever be doing jobs on their own, just because I feel like I still would like to work with them one-on-one. But there are some that I'm like, okay, she's ready. They do some consultations with me first, and then they do it on their own and can take the job. So let's see, first step of letting control. I would definitely say first step, have them as an organizing assistant, take them on jobs with you first. And as far as letting go of control, I mean, it's hard, but I think if you do it once and you see the income potential, or you see how the potential of growing your business, that really helps, because that's what helped me. I did one job with 2 other organizers. They were on the job with me. I was there, but they were kind of off doing their own thing, and I just saw the benefits of having those subcontractors. So yeah, and definitely have them go on jobs with you at first if you're not ready to let go of the control, and you'll see that they can do it. If you find the right people, you know, they can do it too. Emily, at what point do you feel confident in your own methods enough to bring someone along with you? So let's see. So I started my business in April of 2000. Well, I started in April 2015. I actually launched my website in June. And I started hiring subcontractors the next, March or April. So less than a year into it. Honestly, I would have done it before, but I had no clue what I was doing. I feel like once you get comfortable with meeting with clients and with that, you know, with really more of the communicating with clients, not necessarily your organizing, your methods, because I feel like we all know what we're doing. Like, you wouldn't have done this job if you didn't know how to organize, right? So I think really it's feeling comfortable in your interaction with clients and that part of it, and then you're ready to start bringing subcontractors. Yeah, Lainey, that's right. That's too bad for them. Your rates are non-negotiable. Exactly. Yep. I don't discount my services because they want a lower rate. I would offer that DIY package, and that is what it is. If others have experienced it, yes. Yeah. Okay. My tagline is declutter, organize, style. Yes. Love that. Yeah. And that will set you apart, Tessa. You know, that's the big part of your branding, right? Not every organizer is going to offer that style piece too. So that's something that sets you and your branding apart. Yeah. Okay, Emily, I know I keep bringing up hoarders all the time, but I hope to find a hoarder specialist to subcontract. Yeah. So, yeah, that's definitely, I don't work with hoarders either. And I don't even subcontract it. I just refer to another organizer. I don't know why. I guess I could, but I just haven't. So if you're currently doing package pricing like the MasterClass suggests, do you ever work with some sessions in a package and subcontract for the ones you can't make it? Or do you keep the same organizer working with the one client? Yeah. So I have the same organizer working with the client all the way through. So if I use Acuity for scheduling. So I actually just send a link to the organizer's calendar, and they can schedule directly with the organizer that's doing the job. So if it's me, they schedule with me. If it's her, they schedule with her. And they just continue the sessions with her. Yes. Okay. Vicky, I hope that answers your question. Vicky, when you say consider lining up subs early, how long would you say we should be learning the business for our first? So I didn't even wait a year. So I don't think there's really any set time. I think it's more of when you feel comfortable. And like I said, I think it would be, when you feel comfortable on the job, start calling people. I mean, there's no right answer to that. I feel like the only wrong answer would be to wait too long, because then you're turning down jobs because you don't have the help. And you can always say, like, if you have a bigger job, or not even a big job, it doesn't have to be a big job. It can be, a kitchen, and you can say to the client, this is my rate for 2 people. We can get it done faster, because for one person to do an organizing job, let's say somebody buys 3 sessions and they want to get their master closet and I don't know, their pantry done or something like that. So if I don't like quote jobs really, but if I think it's going to take about those 3 sessions, well, I can say, you know what, if we just do like 2 sessions, or whatever it is, like an easier example would be 6 sessions, right? So somebody buys 6 sessions, you can say, well, we can actually get it done in not even 3 sessions, maybe 2 sessions with 2 organizers. So they're basically paying for 4 sessions instead of 6 sessions, right? So when you have somebody there side by side, especially if it's somebody you've been working with for a while and you feel comfortable, one person can be helping the client declutter while the other person is bagging up the donations, or the other person is labeling things or organizing things or whatever. You're tag teaming it, and it doesn't take you as long to get the job done. Even if you would use just you for that many sessions, you're still going to get it done faster. Okay. Okay, Jen says, Vicky, when I look back, I would have done it almost immediately, knowing what I know now. Yeah, I would too. I mean, I don't think there's any set time. When you get a client or 2 under your belt, and then hire those subcontractors. And like I said, by hire, I mean, get them, talk to them about what you're looking for, and see if they're the right fit, and get them ready to go. Jen says, I kept my biz small because I was afraid to let other people in. And then I got burnt out with the amount of work. Yeah, so easy to get burnt out, right? I mean, it's a physical job. And the other thing I want to say is, I forget when, but a couple weeks back, somebody said, like, what if you can't do the physical part of the job? Do you think you could still be an organizer? Well, yep, here's what you could do. You could always take an organizing assistant with you. They could be the one doing the physical parts, and you could be the one focusing on what's the system going to look like. Let's label it. Let's organize it. Let's pick out containers, whatever it is. You can do that part of the organizing job, and then have your subcontractor do the more physical part. Okay. Yep. Preventing burnout is part of your job. Yes. Good point, Jen. Yeah. Jen, once we get all these awesome women with these brilliant ideas up here at your promotions. Yes. So exciting for Jen. April, since I use my name as the name of my business. Yep. Does that make it weird to have subcontractors since it wouldn't always be in the job? No, I don't think it would be weird at all. And Jen says the same thing. No, it wouldn't be weird. It's your brand. I don't think it really matters what your business name is. I think a lot of that is kind of changing your wording on your website to saying we, our team, the team, whatever it is. And your clients will know. Like, I have clients that call and say, like, and they don't even assume that it's going to be me, right? They don't think that it's going to be a me on every consultation, because I've changed the wording on my website to portray that I have this team working with me. Lainey says, how do you prevent subcontractors who are other organizers from taking your clients to work with them directly? So that's part of my contract. You can figure out the best way to do that in your contract. Mine is in the guide, my exact contract, and you can kind of pick and choose what works for you. But yeah, it says it in there, kind of like a non-compete, but instead of, it's not a non-compete, it's more my clients are my clients, and you cannot work with them. So sorry. And that's normal. I mean, I sign the same thing with other organizers that I work with. It's normal to have that in there. And I also, and this is another thing, but another part that you can think about is I give my subcontractors a much larger percentage for business that they bring in. So if they find a referral, then they get a higher percentage. So it kind of gives them an incentive to talk about their business, to talk about my business, to talk about what they're doing, and bring in more business, because they're making more money off of the jobs that they bring in themselves. So they're still my client, but they're bringing them in and they're getting a higher percentage. So it's kind of like a referral fee, but for your subcontractors. Emily says, I feel like each new Facebook Live is my new favorite, no matter who is Jen, Lainey, or now. Good. That's so exciting, because I was so nervous, especially after going after Lainey, right? So April says, you're rebranding under your name, right, Jen? Yeah, I think Jen is. Yep. She says, yes, interior designers operate under their name. Yeah. Nope, not weird at all. And interior designers have people working for them all the time. They have design assistants and all that, and they're working under their name. Do your clients get overwhelmed with more than one person there? Yeah, and Natalie, that's definitely something that I say to my clients, and I kind of pick and choose whether I think it's somebody who would work with one organizer or two organizers. And I make sure that they're comfortable with it before we bring in two, but we try to kind of separate. We're not like, do you want to keep this? Do you want to keep this? Do you want to keep this? So we kind of do two different things. So if one person is working directly with the client, then the other person is doing something else, organizing what we've already put in the keep pile, or, whatever it is. So yes, they could possibly get overwhelmed, and you just kind of have to figure out what's the best fit for your client. And if you do one session and they're overwhelmed, you can always say, you know what, next week, next session, let's just have one organizer come. And I think, you'll be able to see, and you'll be able to kind of get to know your clients and figure out what's best for them. But good point. Yes. Okay. A subcontractor for lifestyle solutions by Tammy is a lifestyle solution. There you go. Jen says, Emily, I feel the same way. It gets better and better. Yay. So exciting. Yes, Emily. Yeah, definitely. I mean, it gives them, it's like, giving a referral fee to an interior designer or to somebody else who brings you business, right? So, and the one organizer that I have working for me full time, she's constantly saying like, oh, can I have some cards? Like, I'm giving them to such and such or whatever. My friend's mom is a realtor and she wants your card, so she's talking about the business. And I think giving her that incentive for making more money for any client that she brings in is just going to make her more excited and give her a reason to do that more. So, yep, absolutely give them more money for that. Yes. Okay. Any more questions? I think it's 10:10, so we can answer some more questions, and I'm going to give you the information to find out about, to find out about the course, right? Or the guide, as we're going to call it. So the guide is ready now. Well, the page is ready now. The guide will be ready on June 1st, but we do have an early bird special. For those of you who want to grab it now, it will be launched on June 1st. It's going on June 1st. The price is $97, but for the early bird special, it's $67, which, I mean, can you imagine, like $67, and then in a couple weeks, you could be doing a $3,000 to $5,000 job. Like, it pays for itself so fast. Lainey says she can't wait that long. Sorry, Lainey. But you can grab it now, and you'll get it ready on June 1st. So you can go to, Jen posted the link there, but learn.proorganizerstudio.com. There's the direct link, and it's called Build Your Team. And if you put in the code SAVE30, you will get the discounted price of $67. Different percentage than the percentage that you pay. Yes, April. So yeah, I mean, it's in my, you get my contract, and I think you kind of have to decide what your percentages are. But yes, if you want to know my exact percentages, yep. And like I said, the percentages is different for somebody who's more of an organizing assistant to somebody who is doing jobs totally on their own. So, okay. Emily says, if I hadn't found Jen and gotten the confidence boost, I can have my own business. I think I would have been happy as a subcontractor. Yeah. I mean, that's definitely something that some people might want to do, right? They might not want to start their own business, and they may want to be a subcontractor. And if you have your own business, those are the kind of people that you want. You want the people that love to be an organizer but have no desire to start their own business. That's the kind of person that you want. So yes. Okay, so learn.proorganizerstudio.com. You can find it there. $67 if you grab it now, and then it goes up to $97. So SAVE30 is the code for that. Post the link in a separate post. Yep. Yay. Yeah, and that's the fun thing. So Jen, this was like an exciting topic because Jen was like, this is something I want to know about, right? And so she's going to do it with you. She's going to figure out how to hire subcontractors along with you. So yes. And I know Lainey is too. She has to, so she can bring in some more money. All right, guys. Okay. Yeah, Tammy, we'll post. I'm sure Jen will post the link in a separate post too. Yes. All right, ladies. If you don't have any more questions, I'm going to hop off. I hope you grab the guide. It's really exciting. I promise you. It will help grow your business. Definitely did with mine. So very exciting stuff. You're welcome, Tammy. Yay. So exciting, Lainey. You guys, so welcome. I'm so glad I was so nervous, and you guys just made me feel right at home. So very, very exciting. All right, I'm going to hop off, guys. Good night.